does not apply to Allah. In other words, Allah doesn't equal Allah. Can you please explain that? Go ahead.
Again, my dear friend, you said the laws of identity, and Allah, He is Allah, yeah, and no one else. Okay, and now, for example, Royal, I gave you the example earlier that, for example, the hand is hand, but is the hand of human being like the hand of animal? It's not the same. Okay, my friend. So we have to be careful when we talk about God. Okay, so or even using this cons or this the so-called law of identity. Okay, free mic.
Okay, you just refuted yourself because you just said that Allah equals Allah. You applied the law of identity to Allah, and you said that this is a man-made law. So can you please tell us which man made this law? Go ahead.
Dear friend, I think you don't know what is, just tell me what is this law of identity, because you just asked me the question and I just answered you. And for you, you used my answer to say that law of identity, it refutes God. Just tell me what is the law of identity? Say, explain it to me as a whole law of identity, because you just asked me if is Allah God, yeah, He is. So how does this, leads to say that, laws of identity refutes God? How's that?
Sorry, moderator, please, if you could control the flow because he shouldn't be asking me questions. But anyway, Abderraoof, you already said that the laws of logic are human-made, and then you tell me that I have to explain them to you. You've already conceded that they're man-made, so the law of identity, a man-made law, applies to Allah. Thank you for committing shirk. Is the law of non-contradiction, does that law apply to Allah? In other words, Allah cannot contradict himself. Go ahead.
My friend, the problem is that you asked me a question and then, you asked me if Allah is Allah. I said yes. Now, my dear friend, just tell me how does this? You said that, I am contradicting myself. Okay.
Abderraoof, in this part of the crossfire, Royaslon asked the questions and you answer them. You don't ask him to answer your questions. That was your past 10 minutes. So again, Abderraoof, please come to the mic and address the law of non-contradiction. Can Allah contradict himself? Off the mic.
Okay, so to be fair, to be more accurate, so Royal, I don't know what is the law of what is the law of identity, what is the law of contradiction. First, when you ask me, explain to me these laws, and then I will be able to answer your question.
I already explained on the mic. Can Allah contradict himself, or can he not contradict himself? I already explained it. Is Allah able to lie? Go ahead.
Allah does not lie, my dear friend.
So the law of non-contradiction applies to Allah. The law of identity applies to Allah. These are two human laws. Okay, now let's move on. So basically you've committed the sin of shirk, since the same principles of laws of logic apply in creation. You stated that they are human laws. Let me ask you this question. Since you already conceded that Allah is not omnipresent, is his power upholding the universe? You're right.
Royal, we are living, and this is my answer. Okay, listen. I am live. No, I'm gonna answer you, Royal. You are living, and God is living one. Is your life like the one of God? It is not the same. Okay, Royal. So you cannot apply your life on the life of God the Almighty. Okay, so you cannot tell me that I am that law of identity or of non-contradiction is refuting the oneness of God or refuting my claim. So, free mind.
No, we moved on to another question. My question is, since you already conceded that Allah is not omnipresent, is it his power that is upholding the universe? Your mic.
Again, my friend, I said, we are living and God is the living one and he is taking control of this universe. Okay? Okay, go ahead.
You're not answering the question. Okay. Can you please tell me how is it possible for Allah's word to reach the universe, since his word is his attribute, yet he is beyond creation? Go ahead.
Dr. Chris Close, my dear admin, I am answering the questions. I am very careful in giving answers. Okay? So, Royal, please, can you ask your question again? Go ahead.
Talk about a non-answer. How is Allah's word able to reach creation if he himself is not present in creation and his word is his attribute? Go ahead.
A very good question, my dear friend. Again, I use the biblical verse in which God the Almighty, said that, he sent Jesus with wonders, miracles, and signs. And this is how he reached, this is how his message and words reached people via the messenger, Jesus, and Moses, Muhammad, and all the prophets.
I didn't ask you about the Bible. I asked you, how is it possible for Allah's word to reach the universe when he himself is not present in the universe? You also didn't tell me how his power is able to uphold the universe when he himself is not present in the universe. I mean, just tell me, is Allah present in the universe or is he beyond the universe? Go ahead.
God is beyond the universe, and how his message, and words reached, the people via the messengers, my dear friend. Via the messengers, he sent prophets and messengers. Free mic.
Is Allah's speech like our speech, your mic?
Is Allah's speech like our speech? Yes and no.
Why do you say yes and no? If it's one of his attributes, why not be consistent and state that it is not like our speech? Go ahead.
Because we human beings, my friend, we are not perfect. We can say, errors, but God the Almighty, he doesn't say error. Okay? This is my brief answer. Free mic.
So how is his language like our language, or his speech like our speech? Go ahead.
How his speech is like of our speech. God the Almighty to address human beings, he sent to each tribe and nation a prophet and messenger among themselves with the language of the people, teaching them what is good, forbidding them what is evil, with wonders, miracles, and signs. It is very fair answer, I think, my friend. Again, Acts 2:22 is very beautiful verse.
You saying that Allah's speech is Arabic?
No, my dear friend, he revealed the last, revelation in the Arabic text, like he sent before it, the Injil, the Gospel to Jesus in the language of that time. It did, like he said, he sent to each tribe and nation a prophet and messenger among themselves with the tongue of their people. He revealed the last revelation of Quran in Arabic text.
Is human Arabic text or human Arabic language like Allah's original language? Your mic.
So the Quran is the direct words of God the Almighty that was revealed to Prophet Muhammad, okay, via the angel Gabriel. So Prophet Muhammad, he delivered this revelation to us. So the Quran is the direct words of God the Almighty, Royal.
Again, is Arabic a human language like Allah's original language? Your mic.
My dear friend, you're asking if the Arabic language, of the Arabs like the original language of God the Almighty. We cannot say that the original language of God is Arabic. I cannot say that. I said that the last and final revelation, yeah, was revealed in Arabic text. Yeah. Okay. Do you wanna ask? So, like I said, to say that it's the original one. No, he sent, the Injil, the gospel, in the language of at that time of the Jews.
Ready. Thank you very much, Abderraoof. So what we're going to do is I'm going to have Abderraoof, can you please raise your hand? And then Royalson's going to raise his hand behind you. We're going to have just a brief 2-minute conclusion from the debate from your side, like an ending conclusion. After that, we will have questions. So can DK Man go ahead? You can raise your hand behind Royalson. So that puts you in place for the first question. And then we'll go from there. And we'll have the room undotted from there. So Abderraoof, go ahead and start your finishing. Again, sorry, Radical Moderate. It's only going to be 2 minutes, okay? Off the mic.
Thank you, admin. And again, in Islam, we believe in one creator. There is nothing like into him. He created space and time. He is beyond space and time. He is above all the creatures. There is nothing like into him. We cannot apply the physical law on him. Okay? What is beyond space and time is out of our understanding. For our friend Roy, it was nice talking to you. You asked me a couple of questions, but unfortunately, Royal, you asked me about the oneness of God, and I answered you. But for you, when I said that Allah is God, you said to me that I am contradicting myself because, I am using the laws of identity. So, my dear friend, I think it was very wrong approach from you. I just answered you, and you took it and you used it in another different, let's say, topic. Yeah, it was not fair from you, but you asked me, I answered you. Yeah, so again, Jesus is the messenger of God. He is not God. Yeah, he said in John 5:30 that God sent him. God sent him. Yeah, he said that he can do nothing by his own self, and God sent him. Yeah, which means he is distinct from God. Yeah, God sent him means he is a messenger. Yeah, it fits perfectly with the Islamic view that Jesus is the messenger of God. Okay, and again, the Islamic, the concept of God in Islam is very clear, very logical, but the concept of God in the Trinity is baseless. It's based on the book. Yeah, it's baseless. How can Jesus be God and Son of God at the same time? How's that? It's not logical. It doesn't make any sense. And then we have to take the whole religion, yeah, because everything is linked. It's the Father sacrificed, the Son, who is God Himself, to reveal Himself to forgive people. How could God, make something that is not fair by killing someone, not for his sins, but for the sins of human beings? It doesn't. In Islam, everyone is responsible for his sins, for his deeds. Okay, free mic.
Okay, this is my closing statement. My opponent actually just added some additional information into his closing statement, which is quite unusual. But anyway, I'd just like to say that my opponent gave no rational basis for the belief in his religion or his God as being logical or anything like that. In fact, he can't even tell us what logic is. And he said that first he tried to deny the laws of logic as applying to Allah because they are human inventions. And then he started one by one applying these laws, law of identity and law of non-contradiction, to Allah, showing that he's committing the sin of shirk, and while contradicting himself at the same time. He tried to use some arguments that, oh, look, you can't have someone ascending themselves and being God. Well, what he's doing is he's likening God to creation. He's assuming Unitarianism and then trying to say that that's illogical, but that is shirk again. He said that he asked a question, where did Jesus say, "I'm God, worship me"? That was a ridiculous question that had no merit at all. He said, "There's nothing like Allah. We don't know. We can't understand him. We can't comprehend him." That's my whole point. If you can't comprehend him, how can you even say that it's logical? And at the end of the presentation, at the end of your closing statement, you said that you've demonstrated that Allah is rational and that Allah is logical, but you don't even know what he is. How is it possible for you to even make a positive statement about him being logical or rational when you don't know anything about him? You talked about Jesus not being able to do anything by himself. I already demonstrated that the reason for this is because he's in perfect union with the Father. He sees everything the Father does everything the Father does, which points to his omniscience and his omnipotence, showing that he is God. I had no response from you on that. You didn't tell me whether Zechariah is a prophet of God, Zechariah of the Old Testament. My time is free. Thank you.
All right, so can I have a mic check? Question time, by the way. So if anyone has a question for either Royaslon or Abderraoof, raise your hand right now. I can't believe someone invited me and I was on the mic. Yes, that's exactly what I was about to say. So what I will say is that the person to whom the question is directed will receive, will get an allotted time, let's say 2 minutes, to answer the question. The person who the question is not directed to will have a 1 minute counter response. Now, because obviously there's not enough Muslims in the room right now, obviously most of the questions are going to be directed to Abderraoof. And that's okay. So don't interrupt the line of questionnaires or questioning. That's exactly what's going to happen. We're not going to go one Christian, one Muslim. We're just going to go whoever the next person in line wants to be questioned. That's going to be the order, okay? Okay, great. So I'm going to get the ball rolling, and I'm going to read my question, and I typed out my question as well. So this is my question is for Abderraoof. So you get 2 minutes to respond. Royaslon gets 1 minute counter response. All right, so here's my question. My question to Abderraoof. You say that Christians should reject the divinity of Jesus because there is not a single statement in the Bible where Jesus said, quote, "I am God, worship me." However, in the Bible, there is not a single statement where Jesus said he was 1, born of a virgin, 2, a word sent from God, 3, the Messiah sent from God, or even 4, a spirit sent from God. Should Christians also reject these doctrines, since these doctrines are not on the lips of Jesus in the Bible? So I typed it out so you can't lose track of the question, okay? So if you forget anything about the question, there it is. And by the way, the person who asked the question, I'm going to say you get at least a minute to ask the question. If the admin wants to be lenient and allow a little bit more time, I don't care. So that's my question for Abderraoof. 2 minute response, 1 minute counter response from Royaslon. Go ahead, Abderraoof.
Thank you, DK. I will try to answer your question. My friend, if I ask you why you are Christian, this is my answer for you, okay? I'm gonna answer, just listen. If I ask you why you are Christian, you will tell me because of the Bible. Yeah, you ask me why I'm Muslim, I will say because of the Quran. Yeah, and for me, I don't believe the Bible to be the word of God, but I believe it contains some of the truth. Yeah, You know, it contains some of the truth. I believe that it's corrupt book. Okay, and like I said, it contains some of the truth. Yeah. So for your royal Jesus, he never claimed divinity. Yeah, he never claimed divinity. And again, I keep sharing, John 5:30 and Acts 2:22, two clear verses about the, the true nature, the true mission of Jesus, that he was sent from God the Almighty. Yeah, from God the Almighty. The point is about the divinity. Yeah, he is not divine, and he was just but a messenger of God. Okay, now about the virgin birth, or this is another topic. But the point is that he is not divine. Okay, he is not divine. Okay, and that he is a messenger of God is not another topic. Now about the virginity, yeah, it is another topic, because everything is linked. Everything is linked. What about dying for the sins? Yeah, so we cannot say this is another. Yeah, of course it is another topic, because Jesus said he did not come for the righteous but for the sinners to repent. So he said that in clear verse. So what do you see, die for the sins in this verse, in the mission of
Hang on, Abderraoof. Can you answer the question, please? It's directed to you. Don't decide. Don't decide what is a question that is on topic or off subject. Just answer the question. So I'll read it to you again. You say that Christians should reject the divinity of Jesus because there's not a single statement in the Bible where Jesus said, "I am God, worship me." However, in the Bible, there is not a single statement where Jesus said he was, 1, born of a virgin, 2, a word sent from God, 3, the Messiah sent from God, 4, a spirit sent from God. Should Christians also reject these doctrines, since these doctrines are not on the lips of Jesus in the Bible? That is the question. It is a yes-no question. Please answer the question and then pass the mic to Royaslon. Mic free.
Okay, my dear friend, please allow me to answer your question. Again, my dear friend, maybe you think when I said, yeah, I said that you are a Christian because you believe in the Bible. I'm a Muslim because I believe in the Quran. Okay, and for me, I said that I don't believe the Bible.
Abdul, I'm going to give you one last chance. Answer the question, or we're just going to give the mic to Royaslon. If you can't answer the question, just say, DK man, I don't know the answer to the question. Otherwise, we'll give the mic to Royaslon. But please take the mic again and answer the question, or say you don't have the answer to the question. The question is not about whether the Bible is corrupted. The question is not about whether the Quran is true and how Muslims interpret the Quran and how Christians interpret the Bible. The question is, according to your reasoning, Christians should reject the divinity of Jesus because they adhere to the Bible, and the Bible doesn't say on the lips of Jesus, "I am God, worship me." Right? That the Christians who adhere, the same Christians who adhere to the Bible, there's also not a single statement on the lips of Jesus in the Bible where he said, "I was born of a virgin." Yes, they should reject the virgin birth, that he's a word sent from Allah, the Messiah sent from Allah, a spirit from Allah. Okay, excellent, great. I'm glad he finally answered the question. Royaslon, please respond. Go ahead.
Yes, he finally answered consistently, and if I was a Muslim, I'd have to answer in the same way. However, if I was to use the same argument as him, that is. But as a Christian, no, I wouldn't reject that. But notice what he's actually done is he has now undermined his own Islamic doctrine by applying that same criteria to these other points that you just pointed out, DK. He's now basically shown us that there's no good reason for them to believe that Jesus is a Messiah, the Spirit from God, the Word from Allah. Therefore, the Quran has no foundation. But in point of fact, not only do we
Hang on, Royaslon. I'm gonna give you more time. Abderraoof is now trying to weasel his way out, saying that he only meant that they should reject the divinity of Jesus. So Abderraoof, can you answer the question in the text? I posted this question. You either answer the question or you say, I don't know the answer. Abderraoof, take the mic. Go ahead. Last chance. And then we're going to give it back to Royaslon.
Okay, thank you, admin. Again, my answer is that the Christians, they should reject, the divinity of Jesus Christ, the Son of Mary, peace be upon him. This is my...
That's not the question. That's not the question. Are you actually playing stupid? I don't know if you're mentally retarded or what's going on here. The question is not should Christians accept or reject the divinity of Christ. The question is in the text. Here is the question. Can you please read the question on the mic? I want you to read the question on the microphone. Yes, good. Read the question on the microphone and then respond to it. Go ahead.
Okay, please do not dot me because it's your room. You will take it mic after me. Yeah, DK Man 7, he said, my question is to Abderraoof. He says that Christians should reject the divinity of Jesus because there is not a single statement in the Bible where Jesus said, I am God, worship me. However, in the Bible, there is not a single statement where Jesus said that he was born from the Virgin, a word sent from God. A word sent from God, I think, John 5:30 said that he was sent from God, and Acts 2:22. The third point, the Messiah sent from Allah. Fourth, a spirit from God. Should Christians also reject the doctrines since these doctrines are not on the lips of Jesus in the Bible? Jesus in the Bible, my dear friend, he said that he is a messenger of God. John 5:30, Acts 2:22, two clear verses that Jesus said with his lips that he is the messenger of God, that God sent him. So you should accept that, my dear friend. Yeah? Okay? So you should accept that and you should reject,
Okay, I have given you the mic 5 times to answer the question. You still have not answered the question. I didn't ask you whether Jesus was a messenger sent from God. I said, should we reject these 4 doctrines? So I'm going to ask Royaslon a different question that I did to Abderraoof. Royaslon gets a 1-minute counter response. Royaslon, can you please explain to me why Abderraoof refuses to answer the question? You get 1-minute response, and then we're going to move down the line after that. So Royaslon gets this last minute, and then Dr. Chris will direct the question to whoever he wants to. Go ahead, Royaslon, 1 minute.
Sure. The reason why he refuses to answer the question is that if he was to be consistent with his methodology, it would undermine the very doctrines that he holds to about Jesus and Islam. He holds to the virgin birth, but Jesus doesn't actually say that he's born of a virgin. He holds to the messiahship of Jesus, but Jesus never says, I am the Messiah. He holds to Jesus being a spirit from Allah, 471, but Jesus never says, I'm a spirit from Allah. He holds to all these things, and yet Jesus never says these things. It would undermine his own Islam. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Royaslon. I figured the same. But anyways, my question is directed to Royaslon. Considering Jesus being a Muslim, just in that consideration, could you give me 3 statements from the mouth of Jesus where he would have committed shirk? Off the mic.
Sure. So in John chapter 17, verse 5, he says, "And now, Father, glorify me with the glory which I had with you before the world was," pointing to his own eternality and the fact that he is the Son of God, that God is his Father, and that he existed with the Father in glory from eternity past. So that's just one verse, John 17:5. Then John 5:23, that they may honor the Son even as they honor the Father. Same honor due to the Father, i.e. worship, is due to the Son. And then I guess you could go to, as I pointed out before, Revelation chapter 1, verse 17, where he calls himself the first and the last, which are titles belonging to Allah. Mike is free.
And Abderraoof, can you come up and give me an explanation of why what Jesus just said with those three verses that Royaslon quoted, how that is not shirk in Islam, since Jesus was a Muslim? Off the mic.
Thank you, my dear friend. So my brief answer again. Don't think I'm just repeating myself just for the sake of repeating myself. Okay, John 5:30, Jesus said that God sent him. Okay, and in another verse he said that God is greater than I, and He is greater than all. Okay, Acts 2:22. It fits with the Islamic view that Jesus is the messenger of God. In many verses in the Bible, Jesus was talking about God. Jesus came with the first of the commandments.
Again, Abderraoof, you weren't asked that. Jesus said, well, let's just stick with one verse. Royaslon quoted John 17:5. Jesus said that he is with the Father since eternity with the same glory as the Father. Well, you're not answering the question, though, Abderraoof. You're just going to answer the same thing every time, and we're not going to stand for it. So, Abderraoof, Jesus said with his own mouth that he was with the Father since eternity with the same glory as the Father had. How is that not shirk? Off the mic.
Thank you, my dear friend. And again, do not doubt me. Do you think it is fair doubting me every time before I finish my answer? Yeah. And again, my friend, I believe that a big part of the Bible, it should be understood metaphorically. For example, let me continue, please. Do not doubt me. Okay, I will explain myself. Okay, like I said, a big part of the Bible, it should be understood metaphorically. For example, my dear friend, when Jesus said, "No one can see the Father except through me," what does it mean? It means by following His guidance that we will please and see God. Yeah. Will see God in Judgment Day and in this life, in this worldly life. And again, my dear friend, Jesus never, he never acted, he never committed shirk. Okay, he never committed an act of blasphemy. This is my brief response to you, my friend. I hope it's clear. Okay, like I said, a big part of the Bible, it should be understood metaphorically. And then Jesus said he is a messenger of God. He never said that he is divine. So what do you see Jesus committing shirk here, my friend? Okay, free my God.